Welcome to Around Town, and yes, Easter's gone by. Well, actually, not Easter hasn't. Well, some of Easter's gone by, but I do want to wish our Greek Orthodox Easter, as their Easter's coming up this week, and baseball has started. And yes, my poor Wolverines lost last night, but that's okay. Hockey's still coming up the championship, and they're in the Final Four there. So, with me today is my special guest, Chief Brad Osgood from the Concord PD Police Department, and it's a pleasure as always to have you here, and thank you for sending over your officer. I don't know what happened, but Officer Dana Dexter came over to our Easter egg hunt on Saturday, and when I get back, I went to a graveside service for Dwayne Drew, who lived on the Heights here for many. He was born on the Heights, and I went to school with his kids, so I went over there. I got the stuff all started over to the playground. Then I left and went up to the graveside service at Southwark, and came back before they started, and I could not believe the people we had there. Whoa! I bet we had close to 1,000 people, or definitely over 900. It was mobbed between kids and adults compared to last year.
It was a nice day too.
Yeah, and I almost think they went. It was like Halloween. They started at the State House Plaza, went to Kimball Jenkins, went to White's Park, and up here. That's how I think they went, because we heard several people say that they had been other ones. There was nothing there, and they came here. So, but anyway, it was nice to see a good crowd, and knowing that they made sure they knew the Grange had put it on. But that's gone. So now Easter next year is April 21st. So 21st next year. Late, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But so, what are you guys up to? I see some things that are keeping them busy, like little fires here and there, and the apartment buildings, and it's like, boy, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like I told you before, domestics used to be at Christmas and maybe Thanksgiving, maybe New Year's, but not Easter or this time of the season. But boy.
Yeah. Well, when you were talking earlier about the officer that showed up at the Easter egg hunt, but that's what our police officers do. They get out of the car, and that's something that we've really encouraged over the years. Is they get out of the car, they attend these community functions, these community events. They want to interact with the community, and I think that our police officers here in Concord do a fantastic job doing that. And as we get into the spring and into the summer, you'll see more and more of that activity. And because last summer we were driving through the parks, handing out ice cream and things of that sort. So,
well, you mind?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the playground parks, not the home trailer parks?
Right, like Keach Park, White Park, Golf Park.
I was thinking of Crestwood or Jensen's, those parks.
Well, I do.
The
The next time we do it this summer, I will make sure that I send you an email, let you know where we're going to be and what time.
And then the bicycle patrol must be starting up too. What, 1st of May or June?
Yeah, they'll be out. Well, depending on weather, they can get out there at any point. But it's usually towards May.
And there's something special for you coming at our awards night, but one of the reasons why is because of something I saw you recently doing. And I haven't seen a chief doing this in Concord for quite a while. In fact, I don't know when was the last time I saw a chief doing this. And I said to myself, that's a good idea for something. So anyway, but it was nice seeing you doing what you were doing out there on Main Street. And because I thought the minute I got back from the graveside service, I thought, oh my gosh, the cars are packed everywhere on Pembroke Road. Newton Ave was loaded with cars, and I thought, uh-oh, must be somebody has called about the parking situation, but Hey, we had no idea we were going to get that many people. And of course, I don't know when the community center opens up here if they can use that parking lot. I guess they're planning parking lots up there on Canterbury Road. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I would think so.
But it was just a tremendous turnout, and the Grange we pulled together, boy, and it was a good thing. Good workers on it. So.
Yeah. You know, when you talked about the Michigan Wolverines losing in the finals, but you know, most people, you know, when they think of the University of Michigan, they think of the football team.
Yeah, they do.
But yeah, I watched a few of their games during the tournament, and good club, they're a good program, and but they went up against somebody that was, you know, a perennial powerhouse in Villanova.
Yes.
The other thing when you're talking about spring is upon us, you know, baseball is here, and believe it or not, the Beaver Meadow Golf Course is opening this week.
Well, didn't they open up for a little bit back in, what was it, March or something, when we had bare ground totally up there?
Yeah, they may have.
I think I saw some, and now they had to close it. But, you know, it was just, the weather's been so crazy. And, no, you're right. I mean, the fields are getting ready, the baseball programs, and Michigan is really a basketball school, but the trouble is, so aren't 300 other Division Ones. I mean, someone was talking the other day that football, they cut them down from, well, say like the Loyolas or whatever from the Michigan, they've cut them down, put them in Division One AA, like UNH and stuff, unless they had a attendance figure up here or not down here. But, and I said, you wait and see. That's coming in basketball too. They're going to do what they did in football. They're going to cut that Division 1A down because there's too many schools there. Mm-hmm. But it is nice to see the little underdogs, and of course, Sister Jean, or whatever her name was, she became the spotlight of all the games that Loyola was in. And I thought they were going to beat Michigan in that game with them, but they didn't. Michigan come back and beat them. But I'm not a basketball fan. I never was. I hated it. I couldn't play it in school. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't dribble like some people did. But you're right, football and hockey. Of course, the hockey one is this weekend with Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and one other one. What's the other one? There's four of them in the Final Four. And then that closes it out. You know, there's baseball going on, college baseball. Lacrosse is in the fall. But that'll be about it. And then graduations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be here before you know it.
Yeah. Prom season, is that a problem for you? You got your guys on the force, your gals and guys?
No, I think that prom season and proms are becoming more and more chaperoned to the extent that people are taking alternative forms of transportation and any of the after parties or pre-parties that they do are much more tempered than maybe 10 or 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But we don't. I mean, there are some spot issues, but nothing we can't handle.
I mean, you don't even hear much about them, but I mean, back when I was in high school, boy, proms were expensive. I mean, boy. I mean, of course, not that they aren't now, because you've got to get a limousine and all that stuff or whatever, but, some of us couldn't afford that stuff back then. But do you think, what about St. Paul's School? I mean, is there going to be any problems over there this year? You don't see any repeat of this, well, what was that game they had called where that incident happened there, the scoring card or whatever, but that seems to have quieted down, but hopefully that's the end of that situation over there.
I mean, it was a very, very unfortunate chain of events that and how that whole case evolved, and but that was taken care of in the courts, and St. Paul's had a lot of explaining to do with history and tradition, if you will. And but you know, a lot of the people that are in charge of the school over there, the rector's office and the dean of students and stuff, they're really well-meaning people, and you know, they're hardworking, and you know, they are committed to righting any wrongs that were ever done, intentionally or otherwise.
Yeah.
So we have the Concord Police Department has a fantastic working relationship with St. Paul's administration.
Well, that's
and,
good though.
We're hoping, and I see no reason why that won't continue in the future.
So they don't have their own security over there then?
They do have some security officers that, you know, just patrol the campus for, you know, any small issue, but they would call us if there was a crime or vandalism or anything like that. We take care of all that in the city.
Then graduations, and that does it for another year. Another.
Then we 4th of July. I mean, graduations could be like the week before the 4th of July celebration.
Yeah, some cases it could be this year because of all the school days that they got, all the snow days they had off. But yeah, the 4th of July is kind of saw in the paper where the city of Concord was asking for bids for the 4th of July, and you know, it's amazing. All of a sudden this year is, I mean, March went by fast. For me anyway, I thought it was quicker than it normally used to. But April can be a funny month though. We can have leftover snow this month, and then, or we could have early warm weather. You don't know what you're going to get in April. May can be, I've always figured that Mother's Day weekend is usually when you start to finally get some decent weather. But there again, I've seen Memorial Day where it could be cold and rainy or whatever, and you never know what you're gonna. The weather's crazy these days.
Yeah.
Not like it used to be.
I like to do all my yard cleanup and everything on Mother's Day weekend.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't picture you doing that stuff.
Yeah, I do it.
Hmm.
You know.
Oh, that's good then. All I know is I get tired of seeing these old leaves from last fall still hanging around, still blowing around. But then Main Street itself, I mean, I don't know. I'm still having a problem with that Main Street because of the trucks that pack in the middle. You know, some of them, they're okay. They may fit in there, but there's some that just, and it's like, gosh, there's no room to get by them.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was never really, and we talked about this before, I think it was never really intended for the trucks to park on that center median, if you will. But that's what they do in roadways in bigger cities such as Boston. They park there because they're usually very quick. They do a quick delivery and then they go, because there really is no other place for them to
No,
park.
there isn't. There really isn't. But you know, and of course up here in the Heights, we're losing the big Toys R Us, so that's going to be a empty store. So whether traffic calms down there, I don't know. But yet, then on the other side of the road, they're building this new grocery store, Aldi's. I've never heard of it. I guess they are down south, Texas, and someplace they've heard of them, but I've never heard of that store here. And they've already started to clear the land there. They still got to tear down 2 houses, I think, that they bought. But we figure that, and then Bonton in the mall is like, I don't know. It's going to be kind of dull, I would think, up there. But
Well, the mall, you know, I don't know what's going on with the mall and what the future
I don't know
is.
either. I really don't. It's sad because it was so lively there when it opened up in the 90s.
It was very, very busy.
Oh, it was the place to go.
Yeah.
Now, there's nothing. You figure that from that end where Bonton is, I don't think there's much left there because Circuit City's gone, and Bonton, which was part of it, was Steinbach, and then the other part was Sage Island they took over. So really, other than down near Penny's and that other part, there's nothing much around there.
Right. Yeah, I remember back in the '90s, you'd go up there during, especially during the Christmas season.
Oh.
You couldn't find a place to park.
No, no, you couldn't. But I can remember that it had CVS Pharmacy was in there, KB Toys was in there. There was a big bookstore, huge bookstore in there, and all the other gift shops and stuff. It was just loaded. But now there was a pet store in there. I know there was a camera store in there, but just gone. And yet Main Street isn't any busier either because they've got some holes to fill there they got now on the street.
Yeah. So I guess, I mean, I'm not a businessman or a business person, but I guess like, the dynamics of operating and owning a storefront on Main Street, a small, independent store is far different from, a retail store in a mall.
Oh, yeah.
With the mall, you think like companies like Amazon, or even with the inception of the internet, if I want to go buy, some T-shirts or socks, I can go online and do that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have to physically go to the store, and so it's an entirely different business model, and hopefully Main Street will those independent stores will thrive.
What are we going to do about these scammers? My goodness, the telephones scamming has gotten worse. It doesn't seem to calm down. What was it during the that series of storms at the end of March? They had scammers calling people up and asking for money to electric bills or whatever, and it's like, they're not giving up, are they?
No, and for every 100 people that they call, 99 of them are going to hang up and understand that it's a scam, and it's just that one person that they're going to get that does something to they become victim.
I had two today, one on my cell phone, one on the house phone, about credit card. About credit card scamming they were, and I just hung up on them.
Yeah.
It's like, what is it? What is it? It used to be, now they're getting like the regular cell phone numbers, and they never got that before. I mean, do you get a lot of calls at the station from people saying,
periodically we do, and we talk to them. We also try to get out with our community resources unit and put on presentations throughout the year to different neighborhoods or communities, to educate them on some of the stuff that is happening throughout the country with respect to these scams and the letters that people get. So
I know.
We try to educate people as much as possible.
Oh, that's good. And your guys, I see Sean Ford on TV almost every night now. They're interviewing him for something.
Yeah, it's been very busy.
Yeah. What's been the biggest topic besides the domestics? I mean, drugs, yes, that's still going on, and anything in particular right now that?
It's hard for me to come up with a particular example.
Nothing really, other than just a normal.
It's the normal day-to-day stuff. You mentioned drug activity.
Yeah.
It's something that we're still actively involved in, and trying to curtail that as best we can. It's just a plague on the community right now, and it's everywhere you go.
What's your take on this Marcy's Law thing?
Marcy's Law, that is the bill that talks about giving victims some rights. It kind of embeds their rights into
Constitution.
the Constitution. I'm in favor of it. I'm in favor of victims' rights and an advocate for victims. I think that in a lot of cases, prosecutors and law enforcement do a very, very good job at accommodating the victims and their rights in those particular cases. But there are probably cases where they're not doing that, and so. But if it's embedded in law, then it becomes a requirement, and so I think it's a good thing.
Well, that's good, because I know I got a phone call the other day about it. Yeah, about the Concord delegation was split, and they wanted to know where my situation was on it, my position. And from what I could gather, when I've been reading on it, it should be a good law. I was told I was in favor of it, but unless I was missing out on something. But
no, I think, like, of all the prosecutors and all the cases that we've done, especially with high impact cases, with the victims, I think that our community does very well at recognizing the needs and the rights of the victims, and so. But I don't know if you can say that across the entire state. But if it is embedded in law, I think it's a good thing.
That's good. And then the guns, my goodness gracious, these schools shootings and stuff, and I don't know. I still think in some cases that people are copycat, but yet it continues to happen.
Right.
And it's really, I know that the State House Plaza there, for a couple of Saturdays, there are protests down there. The students are protesting, not enough is being done and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, what the heck? I mean, Concord, I think, has done very well with the school resource officer, but, I don't know what else to think, what else to stop it, how you can stop it. I mean, we've had a couple of bills this time, and I think there's a couple more coming in from the Senate that's before committee now, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem to end. It gets worse and worse.
Right. Gun laws, for the legislature is very difficult because, that is a very, very difficult topic in this country, not just here in Concord or the state of New Hampshire. It's a very, very difficult topic to unravel and find out what the best solution is. That's why for the past decade or more, 2 decades, there's always been talk about gun reform. Yeah. And nothing really ever happens because it's such a divisive topic. And, it's so difficult to unravel. I think that a lot of it has to do with, the mental health of our society.
Yeah.
And we should really be focusing our efforts in improving our mental health in our society. And maybe that will help curb some of these violent acts.
I don't know, because I'll tell you, just like I said, it seems to be a copycat in some cases. But it's scary. I mean, not knowing when you send your kids to school if they're going to be okay, or even going to church. You're going to be safe enough? But, I don't know, it just never ever heard that stuff years ago.
Yeah. It's, you mentioned church, you mentioned going to the mall, going to the movie theater. I mean, it's, those things happen in our society today, and, what we can do as citizens is just be mindful of our surroundings and observe anything that's suspicious, report that to the local authorities. And like I said, you got to live your life. You can't be a hermit in your house and not go out, but you have to be mindful of your surroundings.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad when you go to the movies or go or whatever to church and think, it was bad enough when you went on a plane that you'd look around to see who people were, but then when you walk into a grocery store, walk into and look around to see who's there or what they look like, it's sad.
Right.
You're almost afraid to be in the same aisle, the same whatever with someone, because they look suspicious or they don't look like us or something. But I don't know. I really worry about the officers and stuff, because, or any of the firefighters or the teachers, because you don't know what they're facing, when they're out there. But All I can say is I don't know. I worry about the little kids that are growing up today. What's facing them in the next 10 years or even 20 years? Because brother.
Yeah, I mean, just think about, what society was like 10 years ago and what it's like today. Just think about the technology that's
Oh, I know.
changed.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it's going to be like in 10 years? And, it's just so fast. It's so, it's so hard to keep up with that
Yeah,
technology.
it is. Well, can you believe another half hour's passed already, and now we're ready to close the show down
Close the
again?
show.
I know, my goodness, I'll tell you. Well, we've been talking with Police Chief Brad Osgood, and anytime you have any concerns or whatever, please give him a call and talk with him about it, or stop down the station Monday through Friday when he's there, and or any of his offices, and just talk to him. They'll answer you and do the best they can to get the right answer for you. So, with that in mind, thank you to Ian Marx, my director, and we look forward to seeing you again here and around town. I'm your host, Dick Patten.